BSG banning real money distributors is a great thing for the game, but banning the buyers is probably the best thing BSG can do to protect the game. Let me explain, but before we start, my name is Beckett, and if you like the content, please sub, like, comment, anything you can do really helps. Now that I'm done with the shilling, we can get on to the video. In my last Tarkov video, I covered updates, podcasts, and real money trader bans, or RMT, which I will be referring to one or the other for the rest of the video, so you guys don't get confused. I felt I did not explain myself fully on RMT bans, so now we can go into full depth and look at both sides of the arguments. I decided to seek out my answers on the internet, and I found the Arbiter of Truth, the website known as Reddit. I wanted to see what the community truly thought about the bans and how they felt, and naturally, like every YouTuber, confirm my own bias. Well, that post blew up, and before I can go into my opinion, I want to play a little game called Devil's Advocate. Let's get the elephant out of the room already. Tarkov is already pay to win. Sweet, video over, I don't have to explain myself or use any critical thought, but really the whole argument that the game is already pay to win with its different editions that you can buy, and yes, I own Edge of Darkness, and at one time I only had the standard edition, so I know what it's like to be a pleb, to only have 4 spaces in your gamma box, to have a tiny stash where you put 3 guns in it and it's already full. It sucks, and I totally understand. In early beta, when I started playing, probably 0.6 or 0.7, the starting kit was ridiculously overpowered. You got multiple endgame items, 4 armor, M4s, which was a huge boost already, and you were literally a walking tank, and the only way you could be killed is if you shot somebody in the leg meta, and I've never been a fan of that. It was just boring. I've always shot for heads, I'm always going to shoot for heads. And it literally just destroyed progression for a regular player with the standard edition. Not only was there no hideout to upgrade your stash, nor were there any traders to buy any large gamma box or even in-game quests, flea market wasn't there. It was a very simplistic based game. You do your scav runs, and you go out on your PMC, you collect stuff, and you try to build better weapons. That was it. And it was very enjoyable at the time. So you had 2 choices at the time. You could buy Edge of Darkness and break your bank account, which would significantly increase your progress for each raid, or buy the normal edition and be punished by the lack of progression, always feeling like you were behind anyone with the money to spend on a pay-to-win model.
Shut up and take my money!
Now, today that doesn't necessarily ring true. It's more in the eye of the beholder. You may perceive something to be pay to win, but it might not actually be. Now, the question is, what makes these editions pay to win? A gamma box? A larger stash? You don't start with many insane things like you did in the past. Here's how I look at it. If you have put several hundred hours into the game, or you just put 50, 60 hours every wipe, buy Edge of Darkness Edition. What would you do if you weren't playing Tarkov? You'd probably have bought another game, and since Nikita has already stated and said that all the DLC in future updates will be included with the Edge of Darkness, so it's definitely worth it. But that's just my opinion. At the end of the day, you have to figure out, what is my time worth? Do I enjoy this game enough where I want to put $200 into it? So now we have the argument that people say that it's pay to win with a larger stash and a gamma box, which is worthless unless you survive. An advantage, yes, and worth it if you play the game enough, but they're not selling endgame items besides, what, the P90 and I think the sniper rifle? But who is taking it out until the end of the wipe? I'm not a Chad. I'm a rat. I'm always looking for scraps. I never take that out until like the last week, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ham, and I'm going to lose this thing in 5 minutes. Now, to counter that, nowadays, you're able to upgrade your gamma in-game through quests and rep, as well as your stash, or just buy cases through the flea market if you're rich enough. So I'm trying to figure out, how is that pay to win? It helps for a couple of weeks, but doesn't affect progression in the long run. As soon as you have some tasks and level up certain traders, you're basically on the same level. Now on to the next argument. I'm no way defending people who use RMT services, but we're going to look at it from their point of view. So you work 8 hours a day, commute 2 hours a day, you have kids to take care of, and a wife, and you can only play a few hours without her barking. So you see a website where you can spend a few dollars and have all the rubles you need for the month. That is no excuse to cheat, in my opinion. I'm in the same boat. I have a wife, I have 2 kids, and before the pandemic I was working 50 hours a week and commuting 3 hours every day. That's the main reason I don't play WoW anymore. I love Mythic raiding, but I can't afford to play 8 hours a day just to meet the minimum, but Tarkov is not WoW. I can understand why, but they shouldn't play if they don't have enough time to grind for M4s. And in my opinion, you do not need to grind 12 hours a day. You can do work with the AK-74M modded with little in-raid effort. Not everyone deserves to get all the way to the end game. Best gear, max skills. It would be like getting world first mythic raid kills in WoW because you have cash to spend and you don't want to put the grind in. You don't want to take steps to improve yourself as a player. Okay. Argument 3. I want to put this forward. Is it only bad players buying roubles? I'm sure a lot of unskilled players buy roubles and throw it away, giving most of us free armor and M4s. But we look at the player base last time they updated us. I believe they said there was about 200k active players at the beginning of the last wipe. I don't think everyone is hacking, and I don't think every bad player is buying rubles. I'd say most of the players are legit, but there are some skilled players that are buying rubles. Even if it was only 1%, that's still 2,000 skilled players completely skipping progression. Real money traders may be fine in many other MMOs such as WoW or any other type of game because it really doesn't give you a real advantage. There are rare occasions when it does, but when in Tarkov, when you can immediately buy endgame gear, we have a problem. I've already stated that I don't think it's just bad players buying real money services. I don't think that's true at all. Highly competitive and skilled players will take every measure to gain an edge on their opponents, whether it's cheesing skills, causing battle state to completely reset our skills like we've seen recently, or using RMT to skip 10 to 100 hours of progression. Many of the recent economy and skill changes that have been done by BSG are a direct cause of these players abusing the system. We're punished for playing the game without using exploits or real money traders. Now I'm going to put a real life scenario. So what about the players who come to a wipe a couple weeks late? Like myself, almost every time I'm 2 weeks, 2 months late. You kind of lose incentive to progress, and just imagine how a new player to Tarkov would feel. Honestly, a new player would have no chance in the state that the game's in right now. Without banning real money traders and buyers, they'd probably just quit and never come back. And that's a sad state to see because I love new players. It's reinvigorating to me when I find a friend who wants to play this game and then you realize how much you actually know about the game and you can show them everything. And it just kind of reminds me of when I first came to the game and how much love and just learning every little thing from just healing or just learning maps, all the subtle little things that this game has to offer.
Offense! Sir, God. A barbed wire fence!
Oh, that dog just ain't gonna hunt.
Now you cut that fence and get this goddamn platoon on the move! Yes, sir!
Another point to add, do you think all these market changes, found in raid status, removing cases from us, increasing trader prices, and reducing sell prices was the slow progression? No, these changes were made to actively combat real money trading. Now the person who plays by the rules is continually punished. Remember when they removed cases? Nikita got death threats. Come on, man, that's crazy. Or remember when the vendor prices changed on selling bitcoins? How much of us spent millions legitimately to make a bitcoin farm for it to become mostly useless? Not everyone cares about getting better. They just want to have fun with the game they bought. Then go play Call of Duty. The game is built for fun. Virtually the same time to kill, same weapons. Tarkov is 1,000% better in every way mechanically, and I understand why people prefer a hardcore shooter experience. If you play the game as intended, using and understanding the mechanics, but if you're just playing to load up with level 6 armor and M4s and running to the nearest firefight, there is literally no difference. Now my thoughts on the situation. People claiming if you buy items or rubles from RMT services, you are a legitimate player. They are not legitimate players though, are they? Not only are they destroying progression by jumping to a place where they shouldn't be, but also in a sense creating a real money auction house. And again, anybody who refuses to use any exploit, hack, cheat, whatever you want to call it, RMT, are put at a disadvantage. They could have banned everyone, but they didn't. I assume they banned the most egregious cases, maybe someone who was buying 20 trillion rubles every month. They can put the best anti-cheat. Hackers will eventually find a way in. It's PC. It always happens. So why give incentive to hack with RMT? It only accelerates the problem for legit players. People who buy in-game currency or items through RMT are just as guilty. They're not pulling the trigger, but they are handing hackers the gun. Now, Battlestate Games had to increase the flea market posting prices. They've also removed cases from us, killed Bitcoin market, as well as cut vendor prices, so selling items to any trader is pretty much punished. Now, a lot of talk has come up saying BSG was false flagging accounts of people that just looted dead bodies. What proof do we have? Is it more than hearsay? What Nikita did say, which was not translated correctly, no, you won't be banned for handing your friend a weapon occasionally. But, and now this is a big but, if you hand your friend 28 flash drives, you will be banned. He said that. I played mostly solo, but when I do play with friends, I'm hesitant to give up BP rounds for an AK, let alone flash drives or millions of rubles. Two things that need to be done. Anti-cheat has to be bolstered, and they have to remove incentives to be a hacker. If a hacker could pay their mortgage from an RMT website, that's a pretty serious problem. I totally agree, hackers are always going to be an issue on any PC game, but if we can remove some reason for hackers to exist, it's a good thing. At the end of the day, I'm in full support of BSG's permabans, and I hope they continue this. You don't get a second chance, you don't get your stash wiped, you get hardware, IP, everything is banned. You're not just skipping progression because you don't have enough time, but you're also degrading everyone's experience by reaching goals that in most cases are unattainable by yourself. Otherwise, why would you be doing it? And one last thing I see that really leaves me distraught is streamers getting preferential treatment again. Since this game launch, it has been a problem, such as permabans being lifted immediately because they have a following. Also, BSG has a really bad habit of relaying important game changes through streamers and not through the customers. And why do big personalities have a direct Discord to talk to Nikita and other developers whenever they want, but if any player has any problem with the game, whether it's something that they bought edition and they're not receiving, or they were falsely flagged, they can't even talk to them on Twitter, there's no way to reach customer support, isn't helping them. But these big streamers, oh, I want this changed, so I can just hop in Discord and say, oh, Nikita changed this. That is BS, and it needs to end. I know this video was a bit long today, but what are your guys' thoughts on the RMT bans? Do you agree, or are you indifferent on the situation? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for sticking around.